All right, welcome everybody to today's A&D Mortgage webinar, the 411 on 1099s and WVOEs. My name is Carl Holman. I'm the communications manager here at the company. I'll go through the ground rules real quick for those of you who maybe have not attended one of these webinars previously. We have disabled microphones and cameras so that we can keep all eyes on our speaker. We ask if you got a question, you either use the raise hand function or type them into the Q&A panel, and we will get to them once we get through the formal part of our presentation, which usually takes about 10 to 15 minutes, and the rest of the time we reserve for questions and answers. And then I would just ask if everyone could turn their cell phones off so that you can, again, get all the content straight from our speaker. All right, and with that, I will turn it over to our speaker. His name is Renzo Echeverria. I'm going to say that 3 times fast and mangle it. Renzo is one of our top account executives. He's done a couple of our webinars in the past as well, and he is very well versed on the WVOE and 1099 programs. So with that, I will turn the microphone over to you, Mr. Echeverria.
Well, thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here today. I'd like to walk you through the written VOEs and 1099 programs so that you might become more familiar with the program and be able to help more of your borrowers. A little bit about A&D Mortgage is a family of companies under a common ownership. Makes it easy for the right solution to be able to do all the different programs that we offer. We're a full service direct mortgage lender servicing of conventional, government, non-QM loans, based in Florida since 2005. A&D Mortgage is expanding nationwide rapidly with our wholesale operations growing exponentially with the introduction of our niche programs. This rapid success helps us establish key industry relationships leading to us acquiring a variety of loans through our Imperial Fund. Our wholesale goal is to bring our products and programs to selected brokers in order to provide them with a wider platform to serve their clients. Mortgage investors in servicing conventional, government, and non-QM loans, and the Imperial Funds was founded in 2014 for investments in our non-QM, hard money, commercial mortgages, backed by European bank conduits, which allow us to grant those exceptions that we perform for you. Our footprint is expanding as we just added Nevada. If you go to our primary website at admortgage.com and scroll all the way down to the bottom of the page, you'll find this map that discloses the states in which we are licensed in and in which we perform commercially business purpose loans, in which would be our DSCRs and our business bank statement loans. What is a written VOE 1099 loan? A written verification of employment, written VOE, is a form to be completed by the borrower's current employer to verify specific details about their employment. Such dates of hire, compensation, structure, salary, bonus, commission, and year-to-date earnings. At A&D Mortgage, this written VOE form can be used to confirm the borrower's income. We're going to watch a video here that I'll go ahead and into further details as to how the many uses of this program can help you.
We're talking about 1099 non-QM loans, an option for borrowers that miss qualifying for conventional loans. Self-employed borrowers who receive 1099s as proof of income can use the entire amount to qualify for a non-QM loan. Regardless of their claimed expenses, divide the amount on their 1099 by 12 to get their monthly income. No tax returns are needed, and borrowers can add income derived from rental properties or any other sources. And they only need a credit score of 580 or better. They can even get loans with 40-year interest-only terms, or that go up to 90% CLTV. A&D Mortgage allows DTIs up to 55% and loans up to $4 million. We also welcome non-warrantable condos and condotels. Visit our website for more information, www.admortgage.com.
Well, for that program, our documentations would be 1099 for the last 2 years from the same employer. Stability is a key in getting mortgage approvals. Pay stubs showing your year-to-date or acknowledgement from your employer that your 1099 income matches what the report helps us know that you can afford the loan. If you don't have a year-to-date pay stub, a written verification of employment works too. Proof that you don't have mandatory expenses, mandatory job expenses differ from the optional expenses you write off, letter from your CPA regarding the expenses. Most 1099 contractors must have expenses. It comes with the territory. So on our standard program, our minimum FICO requirement currently stands at 580, with LTVs up to 80% for written VOEs and 90% for 1099s. Loan amounts up to 4 million, but also keep in mind that we grant exceptions. So always reach out to your account executive and review your scenarios to see if it's something we might be able to provide for you. Our max DTI is 55%. Cash out is available. A completed Fannie Mae Form 1005 for 2-year history with the same employer. Gift funds and cryptocurrencies accepted for reserves, down payment, and closing costs. Reserve requirements. All borrowers, regardless of their credit scores, need 3 months of reserves on hand. Reserves are money you have available, liquid assets after you pay down your payment closing costs, like an emergency account, letting us know that you can cover at least 3 months of mortgage payments if something were to happen once the transaction has been completed. To qualify, you'll need 3 months of principal, interest, real estate, taxes, homeowners insurance, and HOA dues in a liquid account such as checking, savings, CD, or liquid investments. Recently, we have also started accepting cryptocurrencies for reserves as well. So a good case scenario for this would be for Joe over here, a realtor. He has completed a 1099 written VOE form. He has a FICO of a 660 and has 75,000 down. With this, we can qualify the individual for a $500,000 purchase at an 85% LTV. Any questions? Why we choose a written VOE or 1099 program? If you're a contractor, a salesperson, or a consultant, you deserve mortgage financing just as much as someone else with a salary or W-2 position. If you can prove you can afford your loan and your income is steady, you deserve the same loan treatment. The written VOE 1099 income program makes it a lot easier to secure mortgage despite working as a written VOE 1099 employee, with no prepayment penalties on owner-occupied homes or second homes, and the allowances of up to 6% of the purchase price for closing costs from interested parties. We make it easy to secure financing to buy a home with a written VOE or a 1099 employee. Any questions on these scenarios?
We'll get to the questions in just a second. I'll do the wrap up first, and then we can jump over to those. Thank you, Renzo. So just a couple of quick things to let the broker community know sort of ways that they can engage with us. If you haven't seen the latest issue of Scotsman's Guide, we're on there, and we have a kind of a big 2-page spread featuring our technology that I'll show you in just a second. So a couple of the things that we are touting very heavily lately with our broker partners is first the easy quick pricer. You can price out all your non-QM loan scenarios on our website. It's right on the homepage tab, quick pricer. You can pretty much adjust everything you want. Again, it's exclusively for the non-QM scenarios. We have AD Appraisal Center, which if you have worked with AMCs and are working with separate AMCs, it can be a bit of a hassle. So we've centralized all of our AMCs into one platform. We have currently about probably more than 20 that are approved, and you can manage, up to 20 different appraisals with each of those individual folks and take care of it from there. We also offer AD Studio, which is a web-based marketing platform. Most people are familiar with Canva. It's something similar to that. We do have WVOE and 1099 flyers out there that you could customize and start branding if you currently have access privileges. And again, all of these platforms are available right off the main navigation of our homepage. Some other upcoming webinars that we've got scheduled. We do these every Tuesday at 1. So next week, we're going to cover non-warrantable condos. The week after, we're going to work on some look at prepayment penalties. Then we're going to talk about millennial home buyers, and then we'll do a direct Q&A support with our broker support team. We did one of these earlier, I believe it was in March or April. Turned out it was very popular, so we're bringing that one back on demand. One of the questions I always get is, do we record these videos or will they be made available to the public? And yes, so it happens in two ways. One is tomorrow, for those of you who've registered, you will get an email straight from Zoom that contains a link to the presentation. And then typically within 24 hours, we load these onto the Learning Center page on our website, which again, that's under, I believe it's the support page. And then the other thing we ask for is some feedback from you on each of these webinars. So when you go to log out, there'll be a brief 5-minute survey. It's only about 5 or 6 questions. Tell us how we did, how you heard about us, and then give us any potential additional topics that you might be interested in hearing about in the future. We're actively engaged in social media. We've got pages on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube. We have a news chat bot feature on something called Telegram. It's similar to WhatsApp, except it's a European extension. So you can go to our website and download that as well and just subscribe. And then there are 2 exchange forums out on social media that if you're in the non-QM industry, it's a good platform to be in. They're both called non-QM Exchange. There's one on Facebook and there's one on LinkedIn. Okay, and with that, we will transition over to the questions. Okay, Renzo, the first question we have is, what if the borrower doesn't have a CPA?
Well, if the borrower doesn't have a CPA, within our guidelines, we also allow for a licensed tax professional, which will include all your H&R Blocks and all your mom and pop accountant firms that have their licenses registered with the IRS to be able to complete taxes. So it does not have to be specifically a CPA. It could be a tax preparer as well.
Okay. Thank you. All right. And then does the borrower have to have both a 1099 and WVOE, or the borrower can use only the WVOE?
Well, basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be verifying with the written VOE is going to be verifying from the employer the documentation being supplied to us. So we would need the written VOE for both the 1099 or a W-2 employee. So that's the written VOE form is part of the guideline.
Okay. Great. Thank you. Can Uber drivers be qualified?
Yes, Uber drivers, Lyft drivers, any of those, most of them are all contract employees, and that's a great scenario for this, because when you have different vehicles like electric versus gas, an Uber driver is going to have much less expense ratios on electric cars and so forth, and you can work numbers in that when it comes to like expenses that someone would be required.
Okay. All right. Those are our first couple of questions.
Any other questions?
No, not just yet. We'll give people a couple more minutes to formulate their thoughts. Do you have a WVOE only for the employee?
Yes, that is the primary program, the written VOE.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, next. All right, good questions. Keep coming, guys. Well, maybe.
Yeah, so another good scenario would be that I failed to mention earlier would probably be that's getting more prevalent within the country is traveling nurses. So there are different pay structures for these nurses, in which some are purely salaried, some are contract, and then now there's ones that actually travel because they have specialties and so forth. And those are loans that do not usually go through traditionally because of some of those expenses. And then by the itemization on the written VOE as to what they're required versus what they file on their taxes differ greatly, allowing a borrower to qualify with more income. Oh, we got some more questions.
Yeah. Okay. So for WVOE only employees, what are you looking for on the bank statement deposits?
For your 3 months reserves, the written VOE program no longer requires 2 months supporting bank statements that were required approximately about 4 months ago.
Okay. And then what kind of documentation do we require if we go with the Lyft drivers or Uber?
Well, with the Lyft drivers and Ubers, I believe those are going to be a little bit more simpler for you because those are usually registered on the work number. So basically, you're looking at the work number form.
Okay.
And I believe both companies operate on the same type of payroll structure and reporting company.
Okay, there's a question, just for clarification, I'll get to the other one that somebody just submitted. Do you need to see the deposit the same amount as WVOE income?
That's interesting. We no longer require the bank statement, but it is more supportive of the file. We nowadays have many types of reporting systems, fraud guards, and different types of documentation to do our compliance and our reviews on these. But we are looking for those type of borrowers that truly show the income, because like a good explanation of that where it would not apply is if you have that traveling nurse that goes for one type of surgery versus a different type of surgeries with different specialties, you're not going to have the same type of deposits on a continual basis. So it'll be very much reviewed on the written VOE form, their reserves, their credit. It's a combination of all the documentation. What our ultimate goal is to verify that your borrower is going to be able to make the payment. That we simply just want a constant payment stream and a good payment so we can keep the pricing on these type of loan programs low and affordable.
Okay, this is a good one. Do you have to, does the person have to be a 1099 for 24 consecutive months, or can it be less?
We're looking for 2 years, as that's like a bullet point guideline, 2-year consistent income on a 1099, because we're not verifying anything else.
Okay, thank you. All right, a new business owner, he started within the last 6 months, but he's been netting 30,000 a month. Would they be able to qualify?
30,000 a month for how long, divided by how many months?
6 months.
6 months, and that's all they made. New business
So it would be 180. It would be roughly 180,000.
But if he's a business owner, he wouldn't be 1099 or W2. Yeah, well, I'm reading this as a Schedule C. If he just converted to a 1099 from a W2, then you don't have the 2 years consistent employment, and it wouldn't be from the same employer, because if you're the owner, you wouldn't be paying yourself.
Okay, so that would
not understand that one.
Is that more likely to be a profit and loss statement loan scenario for the business owner?
Yeah, provided that the W2 income was the same as the business owner, you would probably be better off with a P&L type program for that, because now you can show the transition in the company from one to the next.
Okay.
But we wouldn't be able to do that because it does not have the 2-year consistency.
Okay, somebody was asking about the max LTV on the WVOE. It's 80%. Okay, that one. Can these programs work for someone that doesn't have an established credit history?
In non-QM, because of our flexibility and our standards, we are looking for the minimal trade requirements, which is 2 months at 24 months credit reporting, or 3 accounts with 12 months credit reporting for the minimal established. And then we also have our minimal FICO requirements, which would be 580 for this program. The only programs that we're currently offering that do not have a FICO is going to be for a foreign national. The market's currently not accepting that. Does VOR required? That will be dependent on the loan itself. You're going to be looking for reserves and everything else, because we do purchase transactions for individuals that are moving out. We're not going to discriminate the college grads and so forth. So that's on a case-by-case scenario. But typically we are looking for some rentals and verifying everything else. Can this work for someone that does not have the established credit history? We already went over that. You would want to establish their credit history, or if you're looking for non-traditional credits, you're going to be then looking at your FHAs, which I do not know that we're currently offering 1099 programs and written VOEs on FHA. However, we are offering written VOEs programs on conventionals. So if you can get them qualified by DU and DU findings call for the written VOE only, we will follow the DU findings. So that would be a very in-depth conversation you're going to want to have with your AE to see if you can get those findings, because then we're going based off that, if that would work as a solution for what you're looking for.
Okay. Calculating the qualified income for the Uber driver. Do we need a CPA to confirm the expenses?
You do not need necessarily a CPA, but a licensed tax professional to show not that service code, the business expenses. I'm sorry. You want the accountant to be able to establish the percentage of business expenses that the Uber or the Lyft driver would have. And you would basically take whatever the total 1099 income is, minus the expenses, divide by 24, and that would probably be your formula for that.
I think he's looking at this one person seems to be looking for clarification if the VOE and the 1099 and self-employed are all different programs or if they're part of the same.
Okay, actually, they're not programs. The written VOE and the 1099 is an income type or the income documentation basis. The programs are going to be either subprime or prime based on whether they are 0 times 30 in the last 12 or 0 times 60 for the prime product. So that would be the program. And then the income type, like bank statements, P&Ls, and then it would be written VOE or 1099 would be the income type that you're using to qualify your borrower for the income for the loan.
Okay. But just to be clear for people, if you're self-employed, you can use a WVOE or 1099.
Oh, actually, if you're self-employed, then you're going to your P&L program or your bank statement program.
Okay.
This is for wage earners or subcontractors, 1099s, which we classify, they are self-employed, but they're still receiving their income from a source other,
third party.
and that's a third party. And I love to use a scenario like a nurse versus a hospital. I mean, a nurse, in all intents and purposes, when they're 1099, they're kind of self-employed because they're traveling all over the country, but they're still receiving a regular salary a regular pay from the hospital.
Okay. All right. I got the question about the recording, and yes, just to repeat, the recordings of the webinar will be available tomorrow on the website. And again, you'll get an email directly from the Zoom platform with a link to it as well. So you will receive a variation of this recording at some point tomorrow. All right.
And what type of income for an Uber driver? Most likely that's going to be a 1099. And if my memory serves me correct, I believe they report to the work number. So you'd probably just jump on their website, pay whatever fee it is that they're currently charging, and be able to download those from there.
Okay, let's get a few more questions in. Questions coming, guys. This is really good. Okay, I think we have exhausted all the questions. If that's the case, let's give it 30 more seconds. But just again, a reminder, recording will be available tomorrow at the Learning Center page on our website. You can also see all of our webinars. You can sign up for all of our webinars on the webinar tab. You can download all of the various tech platforms from the main navigation on the website. And then you'll also get an email with Renzo's contact information tomorrow as well. So it'll all be in the same email. And then if you can help us out by taking the survey when we log out, that would be fantastic. So with that, I will adjourn today's webinar. Hopefully we will see you guys next week for the one on non-warrantable condos. And I wish you guys have a good day. Thank you, Renzo.
Thank you very much. It's been fun.